of stringent measures needs to be put in place to protect the Kenyan citizenry against the aspect of gambling, which they claimed is already becoming addictive to the youth in the country. The House will then consider the report of the Committee of the Whole on the Conflict of Interest Bill. This is National Assembly Bills number 12 of the year 2023. This bill is this particular motion is another motion that has equally elicited reactions from members. We've had Honorable Otiende Amolo writing to the Speaker, and the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is considering key issues in this particular bill, and we'll be waiting to hear what probably the committee will be tabling moving forward in regards to the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. Honorable Joshua Kandie has a motion on the report of the whole House on the National Youth Council Amendment Bill. This is National Assembly Bill number 1 of the year 2023, that the House do adopt the report of the Committee of the whole House on its consideration of the National Youth Council Amendment Bill. And this is National Assembly Bills number 1 of the year 2023. The Geriatric Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of the year 2022, is equally another motion at the second stage. This particular bill, it is a bill, the Geriatric Bill, a bill by Honorable Gathoni Wamushomba, that members of the National Assembly will be debating this morning. If you're just joining us, the business of the National Assembly is just about to kick off. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, is the Speaker presiding over the business this morning. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast.
Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, being the Speaker presiding over the business of the National Assembly this morning, has just directed the Sergeant-at-Arms to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes, and this is pursuant to the provisions of the standing orders of the House, Standing Orders number 34 on matters quorum. And as we await for members of the National Assembly within the presence of Parliament or those close to Parliament buildings to within 10 minutes make their way into the chamber, allow me to, so to speak, keep taking you through the agendas for consideration before the House this morning. And I was just telling you about the geriatric bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of the year 2022 by Githunguri Member of Parliament Gathoni wa Mushomba, that is currently at the second stage, and members will be debating this bill. Away from the geriatric bill, the Fourth General Assembly of the Eastern Africa Parliamentary Alliance on Matters Food Security and Nutrition, held in Kigali, Rwanda, is a motion spearheaded by the chairperson of this caucus, that the House notes the report of the Kenyan delegation to the Fourth General Assembly of the Eastern Africa Parliamentary Alliance on Matters Food Security and Nutrition, held in Kigali, Rwanda, from the 7th to the 9th of December 2022. The caucus that visited Rwanda for this particular agenda laid its report on the table of the House on Tuesday, 11th of April 2023. There is another motion for consideration by members this morning, and this motion pertains the sessional paper number 2 of the year 2023 on the national tax policy. This motion is by the chairperson, Departmental Committee on Matters Finance and National Planning. The committee, through its chair, seeks to have the House adopt the report of the Departmental Committee on Matters Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the sessional paper number 2 of the year 2023 on the national tax policy, laid on the table of the House on the 23rd of November 2023, and approves sessional paper number 2 of the year 2023 on the national tax policy as recommended by the committee. Another debate this morning that members will be ventilating on is a motion regarding the reports of the Auditor General on the 23 non-compliant state corporations. That the House adopts the report of the Public Investments Committee on Matters Social Services, Administration and Agriculture on its consideration of the report of the Auditor General on 23 non-compliant state corporations. The report by the Public Investment Committee on Matters Social Services, Administration and Agriculture was laid on the table of the House on the 23rd of August this year. The proceedings of the second ordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament, popularly known as PAP, is a motion before members of the National Assembly this morning. This particular motion is spearheaded by a member of the Pan-African Parliament. This motion seeks to have the House note the report of the second and as well as records of the proceedings of the second ordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament. These particular sessions were held in Midrand, South Africa, from the 15th of May to the 2nd of June 2023, and the Pan-African Parliament laid its report on the table of the House on the 24th of August 2023. At any moment now, on your screens, you can see the Sergeant at Arms keeping tabs at the entrance of the chamber, technically taking records of the number of members of Parliament making their way into the chamber. And immediately we get to the number 50, they'll be signaling to their counterparts in the chamber that the number has been attained, and we will be proceeding live to follow up on the proceedings in the chamber. But as we await for that number to be attained, the House will equally this morning be considering the enhancement as much as the enhancing reporting of the parliamentary business on online platform. This is a motion by the chairperson on the matters to do with parliamentary broadcasting and matters library, that the House notes and adopts the report of the Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. The committee laid its report on the table of the House on the 4th of October 2023. A lot of bills are lined up for debate this morning. Just to mention but a few is the National Disaster Risk Management Bill. This is National Assembly Bill number 24 of the year 2023 by the leader of the majority party. The Vocational Training Bill, a bill originating from the Senate Bills number 3 of the year 2022 by the chairperson Departmental Committee on Matters Education, is a bill at the second stage, and at this particular juncture, under this category of the Vocational Training Bill, we'll be expecting members of the National Assembly to make their contributions in regards to the proposals in this bill. The Cotton Industry Development Bill, another bill from the Senate Bills number 5 of the year 2023, is currently at the second stage at the National Assembly. This particular bill is co-sponsored by Honorable Mary Emase, and members of the National Assembly will be equally making their contributions in regards to the proposals in the bill. This morning, the House is also set to consider the proceedings of the 2023 United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Matters Sustainable Development. This is a motion on Matters Sustainable Development, spearheaded by the Vice Chairperson, Parliamentary Caucus on Matters Sustainable Development Goals, popularly known as SDGs, and business. This motion seeks to have the House note the report of the Parliamentary Caucus on Sustainable Development Goals and business on the proceedings of the 2023 United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development held in New York, as well as in the United States of America, USA, as well as on the 10th. These particular sittings were held on the 10th to the 21st of July 2023, and the Parliamentary Caucus on Sustainable Development laid its report on the table of the House on Thursday, 4th of August 2023. In the wake of matters growth in technology, a key motion this morning regards the enhancement of reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. This is a motion by the chairperson on matters parliamentary broadcasting in library, and we'll be awaiting to hear what members of the National Assembly will have to say in regards to this report. Remember, the live broadcast of the National Assembly as well as Parliament in general here to speak to our National Assembly as well as the Senate are usually broadcasted live courtesy of our YouTube channels, and you can follow up on this live broadcast courtesy of our channels on YouTube, that is on Parliament of Kenya as well as on KBC Channel 1. Pursuant to standing orders of the House, standing orders number 225, 2 petitions will be presented. The first petition regards the irregular as well as double allocation of parcels of lands in Chepchoina Phase 1, 2, and 3 settlement schemes in Trans Nzoia County. This petition will be presented by Honorable Robert Pukose, the Member of Parliament for Endabess in Trans Nzoia. And Honorable Pukose will be presenting this petition on behalf of residents of Chepchoina settlement schemes in Trans Nzoia County. The other petitions concerns the enactment of the Bankers Professional Bill. This is a Bankers Professional Bill 2023. This petition will be reported by Honorable Speaker on behalf of Susan Nasimiu and Charles Ochola, representing the banking professionals in Kenya. The two petitions will be handled by the public petitions committees of the National Assembly.
I direct that the division bell be rung for another 5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes have been added by the Deputy Speaker as we await to see if indeed in the next 5 minutes the House will have raised the numbers. But if the House will then have not raised the numbers by the lapse of 5 minutes, the standing orders gives the speakers the directives to adjourn the House until when next the House will be sitting. Today being Thursday, the House will be sitting in the morning and in the afternoon at 2:30. And in case you're wondering why the House is sitting on Thursday morning, members of the National Assembly moved special motions to allow the House sit in the morning to allow members of the National Assembly finish with the business before the House heads for recess on December 7th. Pursuant to Standing Orders of the House, Standing Orders number 44, subsection 2C, two statements will be issued this morning. The first statement regards to insecurity in Fafi constituency by Honorable Member for Fafi constituency, Honorable Farah Yakub Salah. The other statement is on the impending sale of Uchumi Langata Hyper land number 209/12593 under insolvency petition 25 of the year 2018. This particular statement is by David Kiplangat, member for Soy constituency, and the response will be coming from the Departmental Committee on Matters Finance and the National Planning. The signals by the Sergeant at Arms indicate by all means that the House has raised the requisite quorum. Allow me to hand you over for this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in conjunction with KBC. Enjoy your viewing and good morning.
We may proceed. The first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, I have a petition here regarding the enactment of the Bankers Professional Bill 2023. Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords any person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 225, 2B, requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. I think I'll allow the members who are standing to be seated. Take your seat quickly. Honorable Mokami, I'm waiting for you to take your seat. And Honorable Jen Kihara. I'll proceed. Honorable members, in this regard, I wish to report to the House that my office has received the petition from Susan Nasimiyu Masafu of ID card number 29670344 and Mr. Charles Ochola Osango of ID card number 6056427, representing the banking professionals in Kenya. Honorable members, the petitioner acknowledges the role of the Kenya Bankers Association, the Kenya Institute of Bankers, and the Kenya Forex Bureau Association, and their primary objective of promoting excellence and professionalism within the banking sector through the provision of relevant training, research, and advocacy. Honorable members, in addition to the existing associations, the petitioner is convinced that the industry requires the establishment of a robust legislative framework that regulates the norms and standards of banking professionals in Kenya, thus ensuring professionalism, integrity, and accountability of bankers in safeguarding the interests of customers and promoting public trust. The petitioner explains that the impetus is a result of the collapse of Imperial Bank in 2015 following fraudulent activities. Investigations disclosed that the top management of the bank, including the former CEO, was implicated in massive fraud scheme that involved concealing non-performing loans and creating fictitious accounts and siphoning of the money from depositors. Consequently, the bank was closed. Its depositors and investors incurred significant losses, and thereafter, concerns were raised about corporate governance in the banking sector. Honorable members, the petitioner therefore prays that the National Assembly enacts the Bankers' Professional Bill, which will establish a comprehensive legislative framework that will regulate licensing and certification of qualified individuals with the necessary expertise and ethical conduct to practice banking as well as address consumer protection, fair lending practices, transparency, and dispute resolution mechanisms. Honorable members, having established that the matter raised in the petition is well within the authority of this House, and further that the matters raised in the petition are not pending before any court of law, constitutional body, or legal body, I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to Standing Order 208A. Honorable members, the committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioner in accordance with the Standing Order 2272. I thank you, and signed by the Right Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, Speaker of the National Assembly. Next, I think Honorable Dr. Robert Pukose, member for Endebess, you have a petition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I, the undersigned, on behalf of residents of Chepchoina, Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 settlement schemes in Trans Nzoia County, draw the attention of the House to the following. 1, that there are over 3,000 settlers residing in Chepchoina Phase 1, 2, and 3 settlement schemes in Trans Nzoia County. That residents of Chepchoina settlement schemes in Trans Nzoia County are experiencing interpersonal conflicts occasioned by irregular, illegal, fraudulent, discriminative, and double allocation of settlement land allegedly by the land officers in Kitale. That Kenyans who received allotment letters between 2021 and 2023 use police service or other authorities or other illegal means to evict other Kenyans who have resided and developed their farms for the last 29 years, having been identified as landless and settled by the government in 1994. That hundreds of residents who do not have means to defend themselves are evicted from their farms, thus subjected to physical, emotional, and psychological suffering, and those with illegal, irregular, and fraudulent title deed seek police assistance and protection to evict landowners, families, and demolish their homes. That the settlement officers in Kitale, through alleged briberies, fraud, and conmanship practices, have continued discharge and transfer parcels already developed and settled by Kenyans, including demanding bribes for up to 500,000 from those that request for their parcels to be offered back. 6, that there are double allocation for parcels of lands not sanctioned by a statutory committee as required under the Land Act, in total contravention of Section 134 of the Land Act number 6 of 2012 on provision for establishment of settlement schemes. 7, that irregular, illegal, and double allocation of settlement land in Jepchoina Phase 1 and 2 settlement schemes and fraudulent issuance of title deeds and incessant corruption characterized by demands for huge bribes for government services have caused unbearable anguish and pain to residents. 8, that in regard to Jepchoina Phase 3, landless Kenyans have resided on the plots for 29 years are yet to receive their allotment letters. On the contrary, the settlement officers decided to sell the parcels of land to unsuspecting Kenyans who are promised that squatters already settled in the farms will be evicted for them to take over. 9, that during the month of August 2023, over 600 offer letters were issued to private developers, and the landless squatters already settled in Jepchoina Phase 3 for 29 years are facing looming evictions. 10, that the matter presented in this petition is not pending before any court of law or any constitutional or legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petitions Committee, 1, recommend for investigations into alleged irregular, illegal, and double allocation of settlement land in Jepchoina Phase 1 and 2, and fraudulent issuance of title deeds and incessant corruption characterized by demands, huge bribes for government services. 2, recommend that squatters who have settled for more than 29 years in Jepchoina Phase 3 be given priority during settlement of residents in the area. 3, recommend for investigations into conduct of settlement officers for failing to adhere to the Land Act, Leadership and Integrity Act in the course of their duties while settling residents, and that appropriate disciplinary action be taken. And 4, makes any other recommendation or action deems fit in addressing the plight of the petitioners. Madam Speaker, this where we have people being given letters of allotment in already settled farms, and these people are being evicted with people being given new allotment letters. And there is a notorious fellow called Momanyi who is colluding with the DCI office in Endebess and also Jepchoina and trying to evict those who are lawfully in the farm. So, Madam Speaker, as the committee goes to look into this, I pray that they do it expeditiously. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think I will allow a few comments and make them brief. The Honorable Makalo Mulu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, maybe before I comment on the petition, and more so petition number 1, it looks like this system, this side we have challenged with the system, because when you press on, it keeps on going off. You have to keep on repeating, so I would really urge that those who are concerned to address that matter, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the petition number one, the one on the bankers, the one where two members have petitioned this House to think about a bill on regulatory framework for the bankers. I really want to thank the two members, or the two members of the public who have forwarded that petition through your office, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, what I wanted to say is basically that is a very important petition, because it will lead to a situation where those who are in the banking sector will be regulated just as we are regulating the doctors, the lawyers. It's only that I think the route they have followed is a very long route, Honorable Speaker. The shortest would have been just to come with a bill, either through a private member's bill or through a committee bill, so that that can be fast-tracked. But the route they have taken will take quite a bit of time. But I think we have no choice but to go that route. On the petition, on Honorable Pokose's petition, Honorable Speaker, the issue of double allotment of land is a serious matter in this country. And actually people have killed each other as a result of that conflict. How I wish in all parts of Kenya where we have such issues, things could be streamlined. In my own constituency, Kitui Town, we are facing serious challenges with some of the allocations within the town. And my prayer is that this can be fast-tracked, Honorable Speaker, so that even as we address issue of Honorable Pokose, other parts of the country will also benefit. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
The Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, member for Kwanza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think what Honorable Pokose has said, I want to confirm it is true, because we share the boundaries, and the ones at one time I think this was Kwanza, but it was hives from Kwanza, so it's actually we are neighbors. This particular exercise, Madam Speaker, is very dangerous. It's actually something that we have to take action as recommended by Honorable Pokose. We should do that very fast. We should be able to have a committee, either from this house or whatever, to be able to go and investigate what is happening, because very soon you'll find that people are killing each other. The officers, actually, particularly the land officers in Kitale, are giving out letters knowing very well that there's nothing which will happen. And so, Madam Speaker, I see this as a conflict, as I've said, and if we take maybe another 3, 4, 5 months, something dangerous is going to happen and be unstoppable. And therefore, my take, Madam Speaker, is that this House can form a committee or whatever to go to the ground and come up with the recommendation. But before that, and I've just agreed with the Honorable Pokose, the officers actually on the ground, including the police officers on the ground, should be removed. I don't know by what means, but we recommend, this House will recommend that these people should be removed, because this guy actually gives out. And I know 5 people who have gone and were given a location, and my investigation revealed that they actually bribed their way. And therefore, Madam Speaker, without wasting time, let us have a committee, I don't know if it's a land or whatever, to be able to move to Kitale, to be able to look at this issue and make immediate recommendation so that the police officers involved be removed. And the guy who is there, I think I know him, is a very crafty person, taking money from left and right, should also be moved immediately. I support this petition and ask that this House take action immediately to be able to avoid the aftermath of this particular issue. Thank you so much.
The Honourable Member for Sigor, Honourable Peter Lachakapong.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I want to second the confirmation by Honourable Ferdinand Wanyonyi on the petition presented by Honourable Pukose, that indeed people in Chepchoina have suffered. Chepchoina schemes have suffered. And Honorable Speaker, it is even getting to a point that it's becoming a security risk. And therefore, I want to say that those, especially government officers that are involved in doing double allocation, double allotment, and double allocation of plots must be brought to book. Honorable Speaker, government officers, particularly those working in the lands offices in Kitale, must be called out, and other government officers involved must be thoroughly investigated with a view of bringing. Honorable Speaker, some of the actions that have been undertaken by these government officers have pitted even communities against each other. And that is what is making me feel that strongly this is becoming a security risk, it is becoming a threat, and it is condoning corruption. And therefore, especially when this corruption is perpetuated by people who otherwise would have been helping Kenyans to do the right thing, are the ones now causing confusion, causing problems. These people must thoroughly be investigated. When a committee of this House visits that area, I wish that they thoroughly investigate this, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to support the petition by Honorable Pokose. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, 30th November 2023 morning sitting. Report of the Auditor General and financial statements on National Government Constituency Development Fund for their constituency for the year ended 30th June 2022. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and certificates therein of 1. Trilateral Development Corporation in Kenya, Water and Sanitation Sector Project, credit number BMZ 2013-6532, Lake Victoria South Water Development Works Agency. 2. Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project for underserved counties. 3. East Africa's Center for Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences. 4. Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project. 5. Multinational Kenya-Tanzania Power Interconnection Project. 6. National Drought Emergency Fund. 7. Receiver of Revenue Statements, Ministry of Defense. And lastly, 8. Study and Capacity Building Fund Project. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
She's not present, eh? Okay, honorable members, since that member is not... Oh, you're here. Honorable Mokami, are you ready? Okay, proceed. Or you can allow me to order the order paper, then I come to you. I put the questions first. Okay, so honorable members, just allow me to reorder the order paper. We shall move to order number 8, 9, 10, and 11, and then we can come back to order number 6 and order number 7. Yeah, Honorable Mokami, will you indulge us for a minute? Allow us. Yes, read the order.
Order number 8, the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, second reading, question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023 be read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Next order.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the regulation of betting.
The ayes have it. Next order.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the regulation of betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling, authorization of prize competitions and public lotteries, for the establishment of the Gambling Regulatory Authority, for the imposition of tax on betting and other forms of gambling, and for connected purposes. Order number 9, motion. Report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023. Question to be put and third reading.
What's your point of order, Honorable Otiende Omolo?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my colleague and co-chair elsewhere, Honorable Chepkonga, should hold his horses. A point of order can arise any time, and that's why I was patient for the order to be read. Madam Speaker, I need your guidance because I'm aware that we are now coming for the question to be put on the Conflict of Interest Bill, which was conducted yesterday for the Committee of the Whole House. Madam Speaker, I wanted to bring to your attention that on Tuesday, the 28th, I did raise some issues which the substantive speaker indicated that once the Jailer Committee has tabled its report and we come to the third reading, then he might give guidance on the same. Yes, Madam Speaker, I have perused the order paper, the presentation yesterday, because we had a PG, and I want to confirm that most of the issues were carried, but not all. There are still a few issues which I would want the substantive speaker to give us guidance on. There are about 3 or 4 specific issues. And Madam Speaker, I was therefore seeking your indulgence that we defer putting the question to the next sitting so that I can raise those issues for the guidance of the substantive speaker before the question is put. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The substantive speaker had actually given guidance on this point, but I can allow the Leader of Majority and Honorable Chepkonga as the chair to respond. I'll give you a chance, Honorable Mulu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And it's good, Honorable Otiende has indicated they had a PG yesterday, which is good, and I commend them. That is a way to manage political parties by holding constant PGs. However, Honorable Speaker, you are aware that the substantive speaker did make a communication yesterday, allowed us to go to Committee of the Whole, and that is why many of the issues were ably considered by the members who were present yesterday. Therefore, find no reason why we should stop at this stage. You should just go ahead and put the question. And maybe also to advise the Honorable Otiende, next time you have a PG, ask Baba to excuse you when there is critical business on the floor of the House. He will. In fact, the last time we had a PG, the Honorable Mutunga did request His Excellency the President, to excuse him. And he did excuse him because there was critical business on the Committee of Agriculture on the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Chepkonga, as the chair, I'll give you a chance.
I thank you, Chair. Speaker, you know, when the Honorable Otiende Omolo raised this issue with the Speaker thereafter made a very comprehensive ruling with regard to the matters that he had raised. And I also listened to him very carefully. And as a consequence of the issues that he raised, I also proposed very many amendments to the Conflict of Interest Bill. Fortunately, my amendments agreed with those of the Honorable Murugara's committee, Justice and Legal Affairs. So I abandoned mine to allow the committee to carry those amendments, which in all, Madam Speaker, agreed with that of the Honorable Otiende Omolo, who is my very good friend. And you know, I respect him. He has a very good brain in terms of the law, but he just missed the House yesterday. And he's also a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. He's also a member of the Justice. And 2 and 3, and lastly, Madam Speaker, we don't need to wait for the substantive speaker to come. I know your capacity. You're also a serious lawyer. You are a very serious lawyer. Having been a chief registrar of the Court of Appeal of the Judiciary, surely. Justice, not Justice Atienda Amolo, the former chairman of Ombudsman. You should not demean the Deputy Speaker. Yes. She has the capacity to make ruling with this matter. And I would like to invite you, Madam Speaker, that you put the question, since most of these issues have been taken into consideration. I thank you.
I think I'll put a close to this matter because already the Speaker pronounced himself, gave directions. Honorable Otiende, his only excuse is that he attended a PG and therefore was unable to participate. You cannot set back the entire House for your personal convenience. So as a good legislator, you should have been here to represent the people that you represent. So on that, I will put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. And the mover to move the bill to third read.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the National Youth Council Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1. Sorry, this is the wrong paper. Apologies, Honorable Speaker. Your clerk seems to have given me the wrong paper. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, be now read a third time. I also request Honorable Nelson Koech to second.
There is nothing. Madam Speaker, Nelson Koech, member of Belgut constituency. I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023 be now read a third time. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023 be now read a third time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the management and regulation of conflict of interest and for connected purposes. Order number 10, motion, report of the Committee of the Whole House on the National Youth Council Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2023. Question to be put and third reading.
No, Honorable members, I now put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole on its consideration of the National Youth Council Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2023. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Okay. Mover? There is no mover, yeah? All right. Let's proceed. Next order.
Order number 11, the Geriatric Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2022, second reading. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the Geriatric Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2022 be read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Honorable members, we may now return back, as I earlier directed, to order number 6. Notice of motion by the Honorable Member for Nyeri County. Yeah, but please read the order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Mokami. Silence, honorable members. Honorable Murugara, Sir George.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give the notice of the following motion, that aware that most pupils in primary and secondary schools are currently facing ethical behavior challenges, manifested in the rampant cases of drug substance abuse socially, unacceptable sexual misadventures, and antisocial behavior that has contributed to their poor study habits, academic underachievement, and increased conflict with parents, teachers, and guardians. Noting that there have been cognizance of the fact that a breakup from cultural norms, rising unemployment rates, and stress from parents, among other factors, has heightened and negatively affected the students' behavior.
Honorable members,
in
order.
schools.
Honorable members, order. Honorable Murugara, Sir George, Honorable DK, Honorable Pukose. Let's be silent. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Cognizant of the fact that a breakup from cultural norms, rising unemployment rates, and stress from parents, among other factors, has heightened and negatively affected the students' behaviors in schools, leading to increased suspensions of excursions and dropouts. Deeply concerned that students from families experiencing domestic violence, separation, single parenthood, and terminal illness, among other myriads of problems, are prone to depressions. Appreciating that there is need for guidance of teenagers at their formative stages in life, this House, therefore, urges that the government, through the Ministry of Education, introduces mandatory weekly guidance and counseling to all students in primary and secondary schools in Kenya by redefinition of counselors' roles, restructuring curriculum programs, implementation of comprehensive school counseling programs, and development of systematic support. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
The Honorable Member for Fafi had a statement regarding insecurity. Who's responding?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 44, 2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding an attack on the Alinjugur headquarters AP camp in Fafi Sub-County by Al-Shabaab militants on 28th November 2023. Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday, 28th November 2023, at around 2:45 a.m., the AP camp, which is the headquarters of Fafi Sub-County, Fafi constituency, faced a reprehensible attack orchestrated by Al-Shabaab. The militants used rocket-propelled grenades, RPG, and other weapons, leading to one of our dedicated police officers sustaining injuries to his right foot during this assault. This incident underscores the pressing situation in Fafi constituency, which necessitates prompt and decisive action by the government. Honorable Speaker, worth noting is that Fafi Sub-County, Fafi constituency, spanning an area of approximately 20,000 square kilometers, is served by only 57 NPR, National Police Reservists, stationed across 4 locations, with a single SOG camp. This limited resource poses a significant challenge to the effective countering of the persistent threat posed by Al-Shabaab. It is evident that swift and comprehensive intervention is required, and that the government should expedite the recruitment of more NPRs and the activation of community security organs, particularly named as Maoist. These continued attacks pose a great danger to the lives of the area's residents. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. Could the Chairperson provide a detailed account of this recent attack, shedding light on the circumstances that led to it? What additional resource or support are being provided to strengthen the capacity of security personnel in Fafi sub-county and in Fafi constituency to respond to the recurring security threats posed by Al-Shabaab? What immediate and long-term measures has the government put in place to address the recurrent terror attacks and enhance overall security in Fafi sub-county? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, the next. I think that will go to the Committee on Security. And I'm hoping that the committee should be able to respond before we go on recess. Is the chairperson here to confirm that? Honorable Tongoya? Is not there. Okay. I'm sure he'll be informed about that. Yes, no, let's just proceed. Honorable Member, Chairperson for Finance, you have a response to a statement that was made by, it was a question actually by Honorable David Kiplagat, who's not listening. Honorable David Kiplagat, you had sought a response, and now the chairperson is on his feet to respond to you, and you are distracted by the Honorable Member for Belgut. Okay, proceed, Honorable Chair, now that I've protected you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for, there seems to be a kamukonji here between the member for, the two former speakers of the County Assembly of Nyeri and the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu. We should remind them that, Honorable Speaker, Honorable David Kiplagat, the MP for Soy, on 8th of November requested a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding the impending sale of Uchumi Langata Hyperland LR number 209-12-593 under the insolvency petition IP 25 of 2018. In particular, the Honourable Member wanted the Chairperson to, 1, explain the circumstances under which the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning have been reluctant to be enjoined in Uchumi's defense against the impending sale of its Langata property LR number 209-12-593 under the insolvency petition IP 25 of 2018. Yet the ministry is the custodian of the government's stake in Uchumi, her assets and property. And 2, to explain the plans the government has in place in order to rescue Uchumi Langata property from being auctioned at a loss in order to safeguard public interest for prosperity, as well as protection of other valuable and unsecured creditors from imminent loss. Honorable Speaker, I wish to provide a response as follows. That the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Trade, jointly with the National Treasury, submitted a cabinet memo dated the 23rd of March 2016, seeking the approval of the Government of Kenya to provide an emergency shareholder loan of Kenya shillings 1.2 billion shillings to Uchumi as a revival strategy. The cabinet approval was granted, and the Government of Kenya gave a loan that was disbursed to Uchumi Supermarkets Limited in 2 tranches, 500 million shillings and 700 million shillings. The property in subject was attached to the loan disbursed, and the charge documents were fully executed. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Defense in 2018, through the National Land Commission, intended to compulsorily acquire the subject parcel of land for use as part of Project 58, and as a result, the parcel of land was gazetted by the National Land Commission through Gazette Notice 1358 for compulsory acquisition. On the 7th of April of 2021, UBA Bank went to court seeking to exercise its statutory right to sell the property in the subject in Nairobi to recover an outstanding loan amount of Kenya shillings 162 million. However, on the 19th of May of 2022, the court delivered a ruling by which it dismissed UBS Bank application, observing that the government had commenced compulsory acquisition of the said property. Additionally, in this ruling, UBA Bank indicated its loss of interest in pursuing the matter further. Honorable Speaker, I beg your protection from these lawyers, Wakili Molewe and Kagushia. They are consulting in 2 loud voices.
Please maintain order, Honorable Edward Muri and GK.
Thank you very much,
No,
Honorable
not
Speaker.
GK. Honorable Kagusha. I can see.
However, on the 2nd of February of 2023, the National Land Commission deleted the said Gazette notice. And however, it's important to note that it's not clear whether the Ministry of Defense is still interested in the acquisition, in the compulsory acquisition of the said property. It is based on the deletion of the Gazette notice that UBA Bank went back to court to petition to set aside the earlier ruling on the subject matter and grant leave to the bank to enforce the security over all that property known as land and enter into possession.
Wanjala, you've been pacing up and down the corridor. Either you sit down or you can leave and wait outside. But don't stand menacingly on the aisle. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And perhaps it kept your attention that the Honorable Wanjala actually crossed the aisle instead of going back all the way and coming back. To leave the bank and enforce the security over the property known as land and enter into possession of the charged land of Uchumi Langata land LR 209/12593. On the 5th of October 2023, via a letter from Uchumi Supermarkets PLC, the acting CEO brought to the attention of the National Treasury on an impending court ruling, which was to be made on Wednesday, 18th of October 2023, on the matter. UBA Bank had petitioned the court that the court grants leave to the UBA Bank to, one, enforce the security over all that property known as land Uchumi Langata Hyper LR 209/12593 by appointing a receiver of the income over the charged land, and two, to enter into possession of the charged property Uchumi Langata Hyper LR 209/12593. Honorable Speaker, according to the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury, the National Treasury was not privy to this court matter until the 5th of October 2023, when the letter from the acting CEO of Uchumi Supermarkets Limited was received by the National Treasury. The National Treasury indicates that the said date, 5th of October 2023, was a deadline given by the court for the submission of objections by parties interested in the said property. In this case, the National Treasury and the Kenya Development Corporation, formerly ICDC, who were the shareholders and creditors, respectively, for the Uchumi property, for Uchumi Limited. Sorry. Following the receipt of the letter, the acting CEO of Uchumi PLC, the National Treasury requested the AG's representation in court, AG meaning Attorney General, for the ruling on 18th of October 2023 to file for a postponement of the ruling to enable consultations with the government for a policy decision. Honorable Speaker, on the 18th of October 2023, the court gave the National Treasury 3 days to make submissions to the court. The court ruling was therefore postponed to 27th of October 2023, set for the 3rd of November 2023. The National Treasury deposits that on the 26th of October 2023, that is 5 days before the deadline date granted by the court, the Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury, through the Attorney General, submitted an affidavit beseeching the court to decline to issue the orders sought and said grant, one, that the UBA Bank and the National Treasury to leave to conduct a joint valuation of the property. Number two, that UBA and the National Treasury leave to jointly exercise their statutory power of sale over all the property known as the LR 209/12593 by appointing a receiver for the income over the charged piece of land. On the 3rd of November 2023, the Honorable Justice Alfred Mabea made a ruling on the application by UBA Bank dated the 29th of March 2023. In his determination, the judge determined that the application by the bank had merit. He proceeded to allow the same for the reasons inter alia that the company, that is Uchumi, failure to review and meet the terms of the company voluntary agreement, CVA, has had a detrimental effect on UBA Bank as a secured creditor. However, it is key to note that in rendering his decision, the judge points out in paragraph 8, which I want to read verbatim, that I have considered the rival representation of the parties. That on the 18th of October 2023, I was about to deliver the ruling on this present application. However, Mr. Betts, learned counsel for the National Treasury, informed the court that he wanted to file an objection on behalf of the National Treasury. I therefore set aside the proceeding for delivery of the ruling on that day and directed that Mr. Bett, on behalf of the Attorney General, do file his objection and response within 3 days, and I reserve the ruling for the 27th of October 2023. As of that day, the National Treasury had filed no pleading. Once again, in deference to the principle of fair hearing, I adjourned the ruling to the 3rd of November 2023. At the time of writing this ruling, nothing has been filed. The wheels of justice must roll over, and we will await no one. End of quote. Consequently, the National Treasury, through the Office of the AG, filed a notice of appeal on the 14th of November 2023. Further, the Office of the AG will explore filing a review of the ruling made by the court, such that the orders requested by the National Treasury with regard to the sale consider all parties to be enjoined in the valuation process. However, having met the National Treasury on this matter, the Departmental Committee of Finance and National Planning observes the following: that one, among the Uchumi's largest creditors is Government of Kenya. The Government of Kenya loaned Uchumi Limited 1.2 billion shillings. And the Government of Kenya has a charge on the said property of land. So it would have been prudent to make a submission to the court within the allowable window and petition the court for grant of orders based on the public interest. The value of this property, Honorable Speaker, LR 209/12593, was valued at 1.4 billion shillings in 2018, 5 years ago, while the UBA bank debt is only 162 million shillings. So the National Treasury has clearly treated this matter casually, as evident by the inability to file the objections to the court proceedings on time, despite the judge even extending the time to give courtesy to the National Treasury to make pleadings. Proper valuation, Honorable Speaker, should be done by a valuer and an amount agreed upon jointly between UBA, which is the creditor for the 162 million shillings loan, and Government of Kenya. And Government of Kenya here, Honorable Speaker, is both a creditor and a shareholder, which means, therefore, that the one entity that stands to lose the most in this particular transaction is the Government of Kenya, as both a shareholder and a creditor to Uchumi Limited. It is not clear whether the income from the proceeds of sale of the land will be shared among the parties who are encumbered to the subject person of land. What did the committee resolve, Honorable Speaker? The committee resolved as follows: that we directed the National Treasury to hold a tripartite meeting with the Office of the Attorney General, UBA Bank, and management of Chumi PLC, and report back to the committee within 30 days. The discussions will center on 3 things. 1, first of all, secure the said property and protect this public asset. Number 2, undertake a proper valuation of the land to ascertain the actual value of the land. And 3, to explore the possibility of a compulsory acquisition for the land by use by the Government of Kenya and pay off UBA Bank, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, to make it very short summary, is that UBA Bank lends Uchumi Limited 162 million shillings. And Uchumi Limited gives security of their land as a charge to the property. This land, the last valuation as at 2018 is valued at 1.4 billion shillings. So the most logical thing to do as a shareholder is pay off the 162 million shillings to UBA Bank and take over the property, which is worth 1.4 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, this matter gets to court, and the court grants National Treasury enough sufficient time, even postpones its judgment to allow them to make pleadings so that they are enjoined in this particular case. The National Treasury is not represented in the pleadings. They don't make submissions. And what is interesting, Honorable Speaker, is to even note, and this really is an example of the power of Parliament and the critical role that Parliament plays in its oversight role. When this statement was sought by the Honorable David Kiplanga, the MP for Soy, on the 26th of October, it is the same day that the National Treasury now filed their petition to the court. I am not saying that it is, but it's peculiar that the same day this statement is sought at Parliament, that night is when the submission is made to National Treasury. So the act of just seeking this statement means that we are going to save government of Kenya 1.4 billion shillings in the list that should otherwise have lost if this property was allowed to be sold at whichever value by UBA Bank. I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I think I'll give the honor of the question a chance first. Yes, Honorable DK, member for Soy constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the chair of the Finance Committee and Economic Planning, and also the committee for taking the statement seriously and engaging the parties, that is the National Treasury, so that we can be able to save the taxpayer from losing a whopping 1.67 billion Kenya shillings as per the current valuation. You can imagine 5 years ago it was around 1.4 billion shillings. So we really want to thank I really want to thank the committee, and I agree with their recommendations, and I call upon Treasury, which, looking at the entire scenario, you can see there was a collusion for Treasury purposely to fail to be enjoined in the case so that the taxpayers can lose this very important property, so that I don't know at the back what they had agreed. And I would like at this juncture to mention the Director for Investments. The Director of Investments, I put it to this House that he was aware of the entire shenanigans, and he has played part and parcel to make sure that this property, the government...
What's your point of order, Honorable Chairperson for Finance?
Honorable
you
Speaker,
may sit, Honorable DK. Let's hear his point of order.
Honorable Speaker, the remarks by the Honorable Member for Soy is impeaching improper motion on a public servant without a substantive motion. So if he goes ahead to mention the name and make those allegations, I think he would have had to bring a proper motion to this House. I think it's important that we give fair hearing and observe our standing orders in our debates of the House.
You want to retract that and proceed?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I oblige with the sentiments of the chair, given that he has done very good work and is still in the process of investigating. For now, I withdraw the naming, but I put it maybe after the committee is through with their investigations. I will bring a substantive motion on the matter so that we can be able to discuss public officers whose complacency can lead to loss of revenue, can lead to loss of property that belongs to Kenyans. We know very well, we are living in a country where we need to protect the assets of government. We need to protect the taxpayers from the loss. And it is miraculous that after I gave the statement, that night, the Treasury that is saying they were not aware were able to draft an affidavit. And you can see the reading from the judgment that the judge actually waited and waited and waited and waited for Treasury to be able to make a replying affidavit to the issue. But they failed because maybe in due course it will come out clearly who are the collaborators, who are the ones who wanted to make a kill out of this thing, and who are the masterminds of this whole deal. But for now, I thank the chair and I beseech the chair. This is something, if you have anything else you are doing within your committee, this should be a priority issue, because we are going to save the taxpayer a whopping 1.6 billion. And I think even without budget, the Treasury can use Article 223 to pay off UBA Bank of their 162 million, and we remain with our asset, and then the government can take it compulsorily, because already we had loaned Uchumi 1.2 billion, and we already have around 14% of the shares. So this is something that I call upon the committee to take cognizance, to take it as a priority, and to investigate up to the last minute. And those found culpable, we call upon the investigative agencies to take action, so that it can be a lesson to other public servants who are going to misbehave like this, and we are going to lose money through dubious deals. With that, I beg to reply. Thank you.
This will correct. That's your chance, Honorable Marmin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise, Mr. Speaker, on Standing Order number 44, 2C. No, you gave me the opportunity, that's why. Otherwise, thank you.
Then, therefore, go to the Honorable Jen Kihara, if she's in the house. Then the Honorable, no, there's no need of carrying up your hands. It's not a high school. The Honorable Julius Ruto of Keses.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And it's good to remind us we are not in school, but at times to catch attention of Mr. Speaker, you must do an extraordinary action. Mr. Speaker, I just want to privily comment on this. And again, I want to applaud my chairman for the Committee of Finance and National Planning. For record purposes, not economic planning, but national planning, on the swift action upon the Speaker's directive to look into this matter. And as the way the chairman has given his response, Mr. Speaker, this particular scenario depicts a behavior that can justify.
Honorable Advocate, sit. Correct. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to weigh much on the situation analysis of how this particular matter was undertaken. If you look at the reluctant behavior from the National Treasury, the reluctant behavior from the Attorney General, Mr. Speaker, you will agree with me that it looks like, and I will be exempt to make this particular statement, that there was a clear conspiracy for this particular hack to proceed and subject public to lose a whopping more than 2 billion in the assets of the Uchumi supermarket. Because when this matter was brought to the attention of National Treasury, even before Uchumi expressly indicated to the National Treasury to move and respond to what the court had given an opportunity for objection, and they were relaxed. Even prior to that, they had made several attempts, not only to the National Treasury, but even including Kenya Development Corporation, which is a government parastatal, that in this scenario, this particular parcel of land is given a fast charge to UBA Bank and to KDC, together being the loan stock who are over to the Uchumi. And they kept silent, they never bought that, knowing that they are also a fast charge owners in the same asset. Mr. Speaker, you will agree with me, as I have said again, that I will need to be exempted to make a conclusion that there was a deliberate conspiracy for this particular land to be disposed so that it suits the interests of some specific individuals. Because how come it's a whole property that is valued way back 5 years at 1.4 billion, and people are reluctant, government officers are reluctant, by all measures, by law, PFM Act, National Treasury Act, it gives an absolute responsibility to National Treasury to protect every government investment, every government asset for public interest. But under this scenario, even it was witnessed when the PS responded in the committee that he was not aware, that he is apologizing now when the matter has been adjudicated in court and order has been issued, that he's now apologizing, that he's going back. It shows how much our public officers are reluctant, either they are not competent or they are deliberately relaxing on this matter, so that afterwards, when they react, when issues have been overtaken by time, already assets have been lost. And I want to say this, even as the committee is concluding its report, Mr. Speaker, this one should serve as a lesson. The conclusion of the report, as it is at the moment, should come up with recourse action thereafter. That government officers who have been bestowed with responsibility should act with uttermost good faith in protection of government assets. Because we sell a land of more than 2 billion to settle a loan of only 163 million. National Treasury holds a loan stock of 1.2 billion in the same property as a second charge. He is a shareholder of 15%. KBC is a first charge, which is a government entity on the same property, and they are silent. Attorney General, by the time, you want to tell me there is a case against the government and Attorney General is not aware. Mr. Speaker, for once, we have to be very serious on the way we manage our issues. So I want to rest this case as we follow up this matter and call upon that we need to look at beyond this. In fact, in any case, we need to investigate the conduct of the officers who are reluctant in their work. What else do they know more than this? What agenda? What is this silence until Parliament is coming up to pick up on the matter? And at that night, is when they subjected the obligation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I wish to have my say on this matter. And it's indeed true that it would be, to say the least, immoral of any government officer to allow such a property. A property on Gong Road, Honorable Speaker, that's about an acre, is not worth anything less than $1 billion now. And that land is at a very prime location, if you know where that land is, where the former Uchumi supermarket was on Gong Road. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the chair and the committee that the best thing that the National Treasury can do, a loan of about 160 million, is something if the National Treasury came to us here even under 223, we could easily approve. So that being shareholders, they rescue the auction of that particular property. And they can also, Honorable Speaker, get into an agreement with the bank for them to be able to sell the property jointly. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, what will happen if you leave the bank to auction? And you know what happens with these banks, Honorable Speaker. Auctions, and I know you're an accomplished lawyer, and many lawyers are involved in these things.
At least I'm not, but go ahead.
I said many lawyers, and I said you are a very accomplished one, Honorable Speaker. So you know what banks do, and those who are in charge of auctioning properties in banks. And many Kenyans have suffered under the hands of auctioneers and banks. Therefore, we cannot then, as a people, collectively owning an asset, suffer when we have the means to do something about it. Honorable Speaker, it is imperative that the National Treasury
wote wamehusika na mpango huu. Pongezi kwa kazi mzuri mliofanya, kwa sababu tulikubaliana ya kwamba tutabadilisha taifa letu kwa utaratibu, na hatua kwa hatua tutahakikisha ya kwamba tunasongesha taifa letu katika kiwango kinachofuata. Leo mimi nimefurahi sana as we celebrate this first anniversary of Hustler Fund. We have a tremendous movement that has been created out of this Hustler Fund initiative. Kwanza niko na mambo kama matano hivi nitasema hapa. Sio yale matatu, leo ni matano. Kwanza mimi nataka niwaeleze Wakenya wenzangu